there's a balance with that. She has the freedom to go out and audition and, do that stuff. I make sure that everything is taken care of, right?
Gotcha.
Whenever she starts booking the 8 or 9 years of national commercials, then I'm going to sit back and be like, okay,
your turn.
Stay at home dad status, right?
Hey, no wrong with that, right? Does anyone want to jump in on that love language one time? There's different types of way to love, right? There's verbal,
acts of service, personal touch.
Right. Say it again.
Acts of service and personal touch. I need that.
Okay, I need you to explain.
I just need my wife to touch me.
Okay. That's it. As I sip it from the cup.
No,
so touch.
I like how you look at the camera. He hopes you watch this.
Right.
But yeah, quality time is one that's important to me.
Yeah.
I loathe when I'm having a conversation with somebody and they're texting. Because I know you're not giving me your undivided attention.
Right.
And I'm the type of person that will give you my
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the type that'll give you my undivided. Mm-hmm. So if you're not doing the same, then
especially a significant other, man.
Oh, absolutely. And then they pretend like they can hear everything you're saying, process it.
That's impossible.
No, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, you say okay, what now? So it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's something my wife and I have had to work through since, the first year.
Do you guys
of
both do business together? You guys both entrepreneurs? Like, I'm
no,
curious.
So she's in the industry. She sings, models, acts, and I'm a corporate sales professional.
Gotcha.
So there's a balance with
Mhm.
that. She has the freedom to go out and audition and, do that stuff. I make sure that everything is taken care of, right?
Gotcha.
Whenever she starts booking the 8 or 9 years of national commercials, then I'm going to sit back and be like, okay,
your turn.
Stay at home dad status, right?
Hey, no wrong with that.
I love it.
We talked about having a woman earn more money. I would welcome that opportunity.
I would too, man.
Because like I said.
I like being...
Well, I mean, as long as she is the same... If she make more money, if she had the same thought process as you have, like,
well, of course, because like I said, it's all coming to the same place. Right. It's a collective.
Because women get more money and be like, so we just gonna spend all my money, like, but we don't think that way, right?
Nah,
you know what I mean? Not to get back on finances. I'm just saying that's a part of it.
There's nothing wrong with being on finance. I think that's good.
That's real. But that's also I think couples that look at finances separately would be more inclined to deal with that issue as opposed to one that has already developed a system where we look at everything collectively.
Okay.
So if she gets, we have a year where she can, tear it up in Hollywood and everything is good. That's right. And I can chill at home and make sure that the kids are taken care of, I would welcome that.
That's right.
There is no pride that would not allow me to do that.
What's your love language?
Man,
because you're in the heat of things right now. With
I know, right?
Serious relationship.
Just communication. Like I never liked if when my girl, if she's sad or she's going through something, she can't talk about it. Mm-hmm. Like because that can go for days and weeks and just being quiet and us not communicating verbally. Yeah, it weigh on you, especially as a man when your woman not talking to you. Like your day can go bad. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that. So like communication, I tell so when I first got with her, I really told her, look, this is me. This is what I like in a woman, and I didn't sugarcoat anything because the games people play in relationships is too much sometimes. It's too heavy, especially in the beginning, obviously. Mm-hmm. So what happens with that is when you're just honest and truthful with the person, it helps. So I communicated very well with her what I've been through, the type of girl that I like now, a woman, and where we can go if we just do this. And it's not controlling, it's just communication. Mm-hmm. So now if she's heard about something, she'll tell me, like, don't wait until 2 weeks from now and be like, oh, I went through this. Because at that moment, I'm not gonna care really. It's 2 weeks later. Right. So if we could talk about it, even the best time to talk about something sometime, believe it or not, is in your emotions. Because it can get hyped, like the hype can go up of how loud you communicate or how much you argue. But something is gonna get accomplished right there. But if you wait too late, it's gonna be like, well, at that moment I was just thinking about this and that. But if you talk about it when it's going on, I'm telling you, it will really help the whatever the problem is. But sometimes people just shut down. Yeah. And shutting down is not healthy. Mm-hmm. Period. Communication, man, is everything.
I think that's part of the social conditioning that some people have. You know, I grew up in an environment where certain problems are talked about. If that problem affects everybody, we talk about it. If it doesn't, then you don't talk about that. Wow. And it's not that wasn't a rule. It's just that's just the way that it was. Now, I don't know all the 5 love languages because I feel like there are more than just 5. The way that I love, I have this. I love making people laugh. You know, I know right now I may seem a little serious in this round table talk, but I am the biggest nerd and goofball. I'm gonna play pranks. I'm gonna crack jokes. I'm gonna tell you crazy stories. I'll tell you what happened in my day. One of my love languages is making you laugh. Mm. Whether you're my best friend that I played college ball with, or if you're my little sister or my significant other. Also, I like physical touch, but too much of it, it's like a cat. You know, you rubbing the cat, and after a while, they're like, all right. That's enough. You know, it's sometimes it can be a little too much. I had a rough time dealing with that wonderful creature that we call a woman because I didn't know how to understand her. Mm-hmm. So my love language is like you never will. And you never will because you are not them. You know. It's like I don't know what it feels to be 7.5 feet tall, and I never will because I'm not. But I'm just using a crude example. But one of my love languages, is laughter, and communication is definitely key. I don't know if these other love languages. So anybody out there, excuse me if I'm getting them wrong. But that is, I'm one who grew up with a lot of conformity and a lot of rules and a lot of stringent guidelines. Mm-hmm. I am having more of an amoeboid type of approach to things. Is fluid. Like I'm more natural. Nature doesn't go with rules and stringent lines and angles and things like that. I like things to be fluid, which is why I communicate. And I think, to your point, Kay, sometimes being in your emotions when you communicate, one of your love languages, if you, any of you do something, say we all best friends, right? And I have something that is very near and dear to me, but it's personal and it's private and it hurts when you bring it up. And you make a joke about it in front of somebody that I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give you that look like, Kay. Yeah. Like, what are you doing, bro? You know, because if I say, "Oh, Kay, come on, man, don't josh me like that," no, I'm gonna let you know, hey, man, that ain't cool, bro. Yeah. Because if you don't do that, you're honest with yourself, but honest with that other person. Like, hey, man, that's not what we do. Yeah. And with that level of communication, sometimes I've been told in relationships or dating that I'm intimidating. Because of my size, my voice, my stature, and the way I look. They say the look on my face is like a look of death. And someone that why you gotta look my direction? One woman that I dated one time, she just went and started talking about some private stuff to people, and I said, "Hey, come here for a second. What are you doing?" You know, I gave her that look, like, "Why would you do that to me?" You know what I'm saying? She was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "That's not for everybody to know, and you don't do that. Personal. You know, it's personal." And she understood. I'm like, "Don't spread my business." You know, and she was like, "I'm sorry." And I was like, and I had to back up, but it was like, I told you that in confidence. You don't do that to me. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want me spreading your business. So trust. So going to your point with the emotionality that comes with relationships, whether you're married or in a relationship or recently out or single, you have to, that level of communication will let you know up front if you're honest with yourself and upfront with communication, let you know if that's the person you need to be with. Because if you have a problem with me expressing myself within this situation, well, you should know better. Then now I know better. Yeah, right. 100.
Well,
respect.
Wow. Tell me about that love language,
man. Communication was my weakest love language. I will say that. Because for me, coming from a military background, everyone in my family was in the military aside from myself. So we didn't talk about problems or issues. But from the males that were in my family, the love language that was constantly displayed was being able to provide to where your significant other didn't have to worry about anything. Wow. So my love language was more so to make sure we would always have food on the table. We had a place. Anything you wanted to do. Actions, yeah. Like anything you wanted to do, I would bust my ass, or I would work hard to. I would work hard to make sure that we could do that, and that it won't be a stress on your back. communication is one that I'm really working on because that was like a detriment to my previous relationship. And I was aware of that, but I was too selfish to like address it. When I came to the end of my previous relationship, she told me that one of the biggest issues was my lack of communication, my lack of just being verbally honest with what I wanted, where we were at. So like now, post relationship, back again to therapy has been able to help me be able to communicate more of what I'm feeling, what I want, not being too afraid to say like, you know, I want to hit this level in our relationship before we do X, Y, and Z. I wasn't doing that in my previous, but I was always making sure like, hey, if we want to do something, I got that.
Right.
You know, so.
Another thing that I found in recently, because I've been doing a lot of self-realization, self-preparation, self-repair. You know what I'm saying? You know, having dealt with a lot of pain, emotional and social pain, which leads to physical pain. And you're stressed out and stuff, like you said, get bound up in your back and your neck, you know, all that stuff. You know, if you're cracking your neck and popping a lot, you're probably dealing with some stress. But being open with your communication within the emotionalities that are at play, whether it's anger or sorrow or fear or happiness, you allow the other person to not only see your vulnerabilities, but it drops that wall or that veil to where they can probably feel more comfortable. Because sometimes if you hold something in, you know, like your therapist, you know, he stands there or sits there and stares at you and doesn't say anything, and you're like, well, I don't know what to say. But if, you know, if you say, hey, yo, you know, I'm really sad right now, and I don't know why. You're expressing something to someone, and they may be sad at times too. Yeah. And the fact that you can open up and express that to them can afford them a chance to maybe drop down walls that they may have and be open with you. I had a young lady that I dated once, and I said, well, just do this and go over here because these people over here are nosy, and I don't like people in my business. They can be saying stuff that ain't true. And she said, well, why don't we do this? Because if we do that, I'm just telling you right now, Tree is my nickname. She said, Tree, that makes me feel uncomfortable. I've been hurt a lot, and I don't do well with situations like that. Right. Boom. I knew exactly where she was coming from. Yep. I understood. And sometimes it's not about the emotion. It's the way it's understanding. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If a child is screaming and crying because they're afraid of the dog, you don't take them and put them in front of the dog. You pick it up and say, oh, hey, it's going to be okay. I understand. Right. You know, and then you make sure that dog's not around when that child is around, because that traumatizes and terrifies the child. So with me, I had to learn to bring back my stuff, because a lot of my stuff I was small as a kid. You know, really scrawny little kid. You know, I was little, you know, and I got bullied and picked on and talked about. He used to call me Howdy Doody, you know, and I grew up. You know, I got bigger and started protecting myself. You know, I turned myself into this machine, and that I found to be not only intimidating but debilitating to whatever relationship that's at play. And it took me years to control that anger. I had one sister; she got in my face, and she got right in my face. And she said, you are one angry blank, 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 blank. And she stood right there in my face, little bitty thing. And I was like, and the way she said it, it just rang my bell. And I was like, and I did it, and I'm standing there and I realized what my posture was. Right? Do you all remember the cartoon, The Hunchback of Notre Dame? Yeah. When Quasimodo didn't even know he had that dude by his shirt and was holding him up off the ground. Yeah. And he said, can you now put me down, please? And he was like, oh, you don't realize what you're giving until someone really gets in your face and lets you know what that is. Yeah. And I've been this monster I've had this monster that I keep in the basement at all times. I keep him on a chain. And I'm the only one with the key. And I'm like, you don't want to see that monster. And I've been focusing on keeping that and turning, not letting, I don't want to get rid of the monster. It's a cool monster. You know, but I had to learn how to train my monster so that I don't let that monster loose on someone that could possibly be the woman that brings me to my destiny, as you said before.
So do you know where that monster originates from?
Oh yes, I know my stuff.
And have you, so back to the relationship, like the reason why I used to have horrible communication and why I initially was afraid to have like a long, significant relationship is because the first woman that I loved, that we all were supposed to love, was our mom. We had a terrible relationship. I never wanted to have that. So that happened to me as a child. I carried that along with me for years. and never addressed it and never thought that it was stemming from a traumatic incident that I had with her as a kid. Mm-hmm. I didn't notice that until I started going to therapy, when the right questions are asked. And a lot of times when you feel like going to like an aunt or an uncle or something like that, there's a lot of times those stories they don't want to unveil to you.
Exactly. Yep.
But a therapist, he doesn't care, honestly, what I feel like or if I'm going to be embarrassed by him asking this question. He has the freedom. He has the objective ability to do that. So that's why I think therapy may be good and may actually be able to help you find out what you really need to do to tame that beast behind you.
Wow. Yeah, you heard it here first. This is a great place to
end. A great exclamation point on that.
This is a great place to end. That is it for us today. I didn't say my love language, but it is communication, and I love touch. All right, thank you guys.